Hello everybody, it's the marvelous ManFrog here, and today we will be reviewing the Revoltech Sci-Fi No. 4 Baragon. Before we take a look at the figure proper, let's take a look at the packaging for this guy. Here we have the box for our Sci-Fi No. 4 Revoltech Baragon. See, it says that right there. One of the small bits of English on this box. That's right, this is a Japanese import box, so almost everything is in Japanese. And guess who can't read Japanese? Yeah, so I have no idea what this box says, but it's a good box. We get some cool images of some of the poses there. Have a nice chart of all the different posabilities there. Little bitty image there that shows us the accessories, which we will take a look at later. And this is one of those cool fancy boxes that has an opening window. And right there, you can see some of the details for the movie that this Baragon hails from. The 1965 film Frankenstein vs. Baragon. Again, I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what any of this says, but I know from these images, that is the movie that this one's based on. In here, you can see that this is where the figure used to be, and down here at the bottom, there is a little coin. I don't collect Revoltech figures, so I have no idea what that coin is, but it's a neat accessory to have with the figure nonetheless. Alright, let's move on and take a look at the figure proper. Taking a look at the Baragon figure, I absolutely love the way he looks. I've always had a nice soft spot for Baragon, partially because of his inclusion in Godzilla Saves the Earth. I used to play as this guy a bunch in that game because he could dig underground, which always annoyed my friends when we were playing the battle modes together. I never saw the movies he appeared in until I was older, but I enjoy those too, even if, I mean, it was the 60s. These were campy monster movies, but I still enjoy them nonetheless. My love for this figure is helped out also by just the wonderful painting and sculpting he's got. On the sculpting side, he's got some great detail on those dorsal plates. I'm going to call them dorsal plates. I don't know what they are. On his back, it extends up the neck. Just, they look good in general. He looks good from a lot of different angles. He's got some nice bumps on his legs here and on his feet, and they extend up to the arms and the little hands as well. Great sculpting on the scales on his belly. This guy just, it looks like someone shrunk down the Baragon suit used in the movie and plopped it in my hands. And I love that. My favorite part of the sculpt, though, extends to the face. He has a beautiful head sculpt. Again, those nice Baragon bumps on the head, the little row of spines, but really what gets it to me, the pearly whites and that tongue in the mouth, fantastic looking. Painting's even great here, too. Those eyes are stellar. I find a lot of times that the eyes on monster figures can be a little disappointing, sometimes a little hit or miss, but these are crystal clear and they look wonderful. That painting extends throughout the whole body. Ooh, almost dropped him. That painting extends throughout the whole body. I've had this guy since September of 2018, and I haven't had any issues with paint chipping, no problems with the durability of the figure, and I have dropped him a few times, like I almost did there. He's up on a pretty high shelf, and some rattling can get him knocked onto the floor. He hasn't really shown any damage there. But he's just got some great painting in general. That gray and like light tan paint between the spines here and towards the side of him right here just helps to bring out the large shaping there. I don't know if it really shows up super well on camera, but he's got some black kind of dry brushed almost onto his legs here to really accentuate the curves and bends in the muscle. And he's got some nice painting on his belly too. So all in all, I think painting and sculpting, perfect on this guy. But, I mean, there's more to a Revoltech figure than just painting and sculpting because of that classic clickety-clackety Revoltech joint. So now I think it's about time we take a look at the posability on this bad boy. Moving on to the posability, this guy being a Revoltech figure obviously has a decent amount of posability in him. Let's start from the top, shall we? Up on his head, each of his ears is connected with a hinge joint, allowing them to move all the way back like that, and move forward about this far. He has another hinge joint at the mouth, like I showed you guys earlier, that reveals those pearly whites of his. So beautiful. And at the top of the neck, he has his first Revoltech joint. This allows him to look down about this, look down about this far and look up about this far. That bigger nod down that you saw just a second ago is due to that second Revoltech joint in his neck that allows for him to look down this far and up that far. breaks the sculpt a little bit, but I mean, it's necessary for his crawling mode. Moving down a little bit, we get to the arms, and at the shoulders, we have another Revoltech joint. This allows for some up and down movement here, a swivel, and if we kind of bend it just right, we can get a full 360 swivel. Coming to the elbow, we have another hinge joint right there. And at the wrist, we have another Revoltech joint, up and down, swivel. And if you position that right, I think you can get some side to side. I have had a lot of trouble positioning it, so I won't try and pull it off in this video here. The posability is the same for both of his arms. So, Revoltech joint, hinge joint, Revoltech joint. Moving down to the legs, we can see that he's got another Revoltech joint in his hips, and actually all the joints in his legs are Revoltech joints. This allows for some spread of the legs there, some up and down movement, actually another 360 if you really stress that joint there, another 360. Also allows for some backwards movement, which is useful later on. Another Revoltech joint at the knee, kick forward, bend back. Because of the Revoltech joint, you can swivel it too, full 360. And then the last Revoltech joint right here at the ankle, which allows for up and down, and a pivot. Oh, actually, there is one more Revoltech joint, I almost forgot, at the base of the tail that allows for some up and down movement. And then the tail itself is a soft plastic that you can get some nice bends into, just like that. And that's pretty much all the posability on this guy. He has got a decent amount of posability, especially for a giant monster figure. I think he probably has more posability than the actual suit that they filmed the movies in for this guy, to be honest. And, well, now I'll show you guys the crawling pose that he can pull off too. If we take Baragon and we bring his head all the way up like we had it before, bring both of his arms down this way, pull him just like that, take the legs, bend them all the way down like that, and bring down the tail. He can replicate the crawling pose that he has when he's digging underground in the movies. Looks pretty good. And that break in the sculpt that I mentioned earlier, when you have him in his pose like this, you can't really even see it. So I think that works out very well. Now to take a look at the accessories this guy comes with. The first thing we have are these fun little trees. It comes with two of them, one a little bit bigger than the other, but they're pretty much the same. Other than that, you can see here some good texturing on the leaves. Nice look on the bark. Oh, out of focus. Come on. There we go. We'll just hold it there. And then a nice little base plate. So the trees themselves are pretty good, but I mean, they're mainly there for decoration, nothing much to write home about. You can't really interact with them at all. What he can interact with is one of my favorite pieces, the house. So he comes with this nice little house, and if you can see here, there's a little bite mark in it. So if we move these out of the way, open his mouth up, move those arms, Baragon can bite down on the house. There we go. I mean, obviously, I haven't really posed him at all, so it just kind of looks a little bit doofy, but, I mean, if we bring these legs up, we can get some really good poses with it in there. Bring the arms around. So, I mean, it can look pretty cool. I'm assuming this replicates a scene in the movie, but it's been quite a while since I've actually seen the movie, so I can't remember. But it looks good. The house itself, the house itself looks pretty good. Nice paneling on there. The indent is seamless. Looks nice. There's some good dark painting in there to show the shadows. All in all, looks pretty good. The last accessory this guy comes with, and my personal favorite, a tiny horse. Again, I don't remember this from the movie, but it's been a really long time. I'm sure it comes from the movie. But because I can't remember, I'm going to name this horse Charles, and he's cool. I think he can also fit in Baragon's mouth, actually, just maybe. No, he can't. I mean, if you really force him in there, but he's actually made out of a pretty soft plastic, so I wouldn't want to break him or anything. And if you notice that little peg on his foot, he can connect to the front of the house too. Just like that. All in all, these are some great accessories, and they can really help bring this whole thing together. Put some trees here. That's great. But Baragon also scales up pretty well with some Godzilla figures, if you have any. And I can show you what those look like. Right. Before I bring on the figures, we'll take a look at how he scales up. He looks to be about 4.5 inches tall right there, which scales him pretty perfectly with NECA Godzilla figures, which I have plenty of. Unfortunately, I don't have any Showa Godzilla figures. So right now, we'll just have to look at him next to the Heisei Godzilla figure. Looks pretty good. This is the figure from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, by the way. The Godzilla from Giant Monsters All Out Attack. Pretty good, pretty good. And then the Godzilla from the 2019 King of the Monsters movie. All in all, he scales pretty much as Baragon should scale with these figures. I think he's a little tall. As you can see, he kind of comes a little more than halfway up that Godzilla figure right there. A little bit past his chest. So I think he should be a little bit shorter than that, sorry. But I think he looks good. Obviously, he'd look way better alongside a Showa collection or with some Showa Godzilla figures, but I unfortunately don't have any of those yet. So this is all we'll have to look at for right now. All in all, I really enjoy this figure. He's continued to be one of my favorite figures in my collection and has stood the test of time pretty well. I would say that this would be a good figure to add to any collection, especially if you have a Showa Godzilla collection already. However, currently his price is about $120, $130, I believe, on Amazon. At the time I purchased him, I only paid about $30 to $40 for him, which I think is a really good deal on here. Some people might say that $120, $130 is perfectly fine for them, but personally, I think for this guy, that price might be a little high. I'd look into maybe getting it used on eBay, which for a lot of these older Revoltech Godzilla figures is really the only way to get them at an affordable price. But in the end, I'll give him a 4 out of 5 stars. If he maybe came with some accessories that matched up with the movie a bit more, or maybe came with that horn in the proper coloration, I might have rated him a little higher, but 4 out of 5 I think is really good for this guy. And that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys for joining me. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment what you think I should review next for it if you'd like. And subscribe for more. Thank you.